So, welcome everyone to the Interactive Craft Fair. It's held between the 23rd and the 28th of March 2021. It's a wonderful mix of exhibitor-led live sessions, workshops, demonstrations, live chat, and a chance to buy direct from our exhibitors. Now, it's all taking place on interact.handmadeinbritain.co.uk. So my name is Alice, and I am a part of the Handmade in Britain team. And this afternoon, I am joined by Helen Chatterton. Now, Helen Chatterton is a textile artist and designer, and we're going to be talking about textiles resilience and the new normal. So, Helen, I'm going to bring you on board and welcome to our exhibitor live session. It's lovely to see you. And where do we find you this afternoon?
I'm in my workroom, Alice.
It looks very, very workroom-like. It looks absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to kick off. This is the second time you're joining us for an interactive virtual fair, but it'd be really nice, just in case anyone's new, and just a refresh. So how did we, what's a little bit of your professional background, and how did you get to the work that you're producing today?
I started my working life as a secretary and then an admin assistant, and ended up working for an orchestra in Liverpool as an administrator. And then when the children were younger, I went and did a City and Guild course in knitwear design, and it led to going and sourcing loads of fabrics, making some cushions and then some scarves, and then just starting my business in 2004, I think. And it's just grown from there, really. So that's how it all started.
And then we're obviously going to be talking about kind of textiles and resilience. So why don't you kind of kick us off, because it's been a strange year for everyone, but it's been a year kind of reflection for you and having a look.
It has been a strange year. So I'm going to talk about what it was like running a small business during a global pandemic. So do you want me to start talking about that, Alice?
We can do. I think a lot of people, though, can keep seeing me. So I'm just going to make sure that people can see you. So I do apologise, everyone. I'm going to make sure that you can follow Helen now. So, Helen, I'm just going to switch myself off. So there we are, Helen. Please go straight ahead.
So is that okay? So I'm going to talk about what it was like running a small business during a global pandemic. First of all, I want to make a reference to a talk that was held on International Women's Day as part of Handmade in Britain's virtual craft show. And there was a panel, and in it, one of the panelists, Dr. Neelam Rayner, directed us to a paper that she and other people have been working in. And it's called Crafting Resilience, the Practices of Making in the COVID-19 Lockdown. And it's part of a culture and conflict project at the LSE-based Gender, Justice and Security Hub. It's really interesting. And it's all about women in areas of conflict and how they've managed in the time of COVID. So I have to say at the outset, my experiences in the time of COVID running a business is nothing like the challenges they've been faced with. And I just want to explain that at the outset. And it's not going to be I'm not going to be dreary about it. If you don't know my work, I have two collections. I make Harris tweed scarves and lavender bags, and then City on Cloth map scarves. A lot of my work is trade, so selling to shops, and then a lot of it is on my own website, and then on websites like Handmade in Britain, where I have a good online presence. So before COVID started, I did the January trade shows. I had a very, very good top drawer and Scottish trade show. I had some good orders, a contact book. The contacts were absolutely amazing. There was a background of the virus, because this was in January. There were no masks, no hand sanitisation. It was a situation somewhere else. So I went home in February. I made a lot of the orders. I actually made 1,000 lavender bags in about 2 weeks. ordered the fabric, sent quite a few of the orders out, delivered a large order to Scotland. And then at the beginning of March, one big order for a couple of shops in Scotland, it just cancelled. And the box it was all made, everything, they just cancelled it. And then other shops started postponing until 2021. So I thought, well, to be fair on the shops, they're not going to want a load of stock. So then I wrote to all my pending orders and said, do you want to postpone? Do you want to cancel? And then all of them, mainly all of them did. So obviously a year ago, we entered lockdown 1. There were no orders, no work at all. So I mainly spent my time watching the news, knitted. I became an epidemiologist, a virologist, a dog groomer, a public health official. I walked the dogs. I got so good at Sudoku that I entered the Times very hard competition every Sunday. So just basically no work. Luckily, the money for the orders that I'd done before March, that was all coming in. So that was fine. So other people on social media started to make masks and scrubs. I just sulked, basically, because I thought I tried a couple of masks, thought they're absolutely appalling to make, really fiddly. They're not clinical, they're not really of any clinical use. So I just sulked, really, and watched other people make them. But then I had to swallow my pride a little bit because Hester, my daughter, and son-in-law, David, live in Edinburgh. And Scotland I think, I can't remember the dates, but they needed masks to go in the shops. So I had to swallow my pride and make some masks. I used the New York Times pattern, incidentally, and I made some for us, I made some for other people, and then that was it. So I spent the summer just surfing social media. I'm afraid to say I spent a bit of money on sale pages and things like that. I watched other people being really, really creative and inventive. A lot of people did the artist support pledge, which I followed and watched. I thought it was actually mainly for fine artists, but I realised that it much too late that it was for people like me. So I just looked at it and sulked a bit more. And knitted, I was prolific knitting. I had a few website orders, and I had quite a nice trade order for a lady who was setting up an online mail, company, and that was really nice. It was a very nice website and nice to deal with. Textiles were selling, I'm told, but it was mainly home textiles, as people were at home and they wanted to do their houses up. So textiles were selling, but because people weren't going out, they weren't really wearing scarves. I could have also done my accounts for the previous year, but I was in such a mood that I just couldn't bring myself to do it, because I knew that I was going to see all this money and all these orders coming in that were not going to be coming in anymore. We spent a large part of the summer, I think people in my profession, wondering whether the summer shows would go ahead. Will the autumn trade shows go ahead? If the shops aren't open, are people going to order stock? No, they're not, because they've got enough. So the trade show in the autumn in Top Drawer, that was looming. And then Handmade in Britain, Chelsea was looming. That was in November. But we just thought, well, it's not going to go ahead. Is it going to go ahead? So for Top Drawer in the autumn, they did a very good online show, and I was given a gold package. So I realised that I either had to just pack the whole thing all together, or just to get on with it, make some new stock, and then carry on, think positive. And that's what I chose to do. So once I started ordering the new fabrics, because the mills were still producing some nice fabrics. So I ordered the fabrics, slightly tricky to mix them, to match them, because of no trip to London. And there were no models for photographers for photographing them. So I made a new collection, quite a small collection. I did my first video with Rihanna, my friend, and we had an absolute hoot doing that. It took a long time to get everything uploaded on the site, the Top Drawer site, but I got a couple of small orders and some interest. You get to send out mail shots, so it just kept something ticking over. I then had an email from a company that I have chatted to in the past about notebooks. It's a company called Capdar, and they use your leftover fabrics and they make beautiful notebooks out of them. And I had loads of silk. I think I talked about this in my previous talk. When I get my mat scarves made in Macclesfield, they print sideways down they print the scarves, and then I get the end bit because they print 1.5 scarves. So I've got rolls and rolls of this. So I decided to take a plunge and decided that notebooks could be a way to go. If people can't afford a mat scarf, then they might want to buy a notebook. So the notebooks weren't ready for November, so that I wasn't able to show them at the Handmade in Britain show. So here they are. I don't know if that's upside down. This is Berlin, and they're absolutely beautiful. The quality is absolutely lovely, and they're backed with silk and plain paper, and they've got a matching whatever you call that, bookmark. So they went online, they went on Handmade online. So that was a really positive outcome of lockdown. And I think Capdar hadn't done anything in lockdown. So they took a risk by emailing everyone, and it worked because I've got 100 of them. And now I'm getting some more. So when I saw the mat books, I then thought, well, you've got all this time because you're not doing the January trade show. Usually for a trade show, I make probably 100 sample scarves. You're not doing that. Get on your computer, just get on with it and do a load of new maps. So I've done a lot of new maps, which are in production. They will be out soon on the 19th of April. I think I might be able to show you a screenshot of some of them. I can't show my screen, but that's some of them. And we've got Barcelona, Lisbon, Liverpool, 4 Liverpool ones, 2 new Londons, Manchester, Moscow, 2 new Paris, and a Prague. So they're all coming. So there will be some new notebooks to match them. I don't know when that will be. So we have to keep things moving. If you want a business, you've just got to keep it moving. Handmade in Chelsea obviously didn't go ahead, but they did the virtual online show, which some of you may have taken part in November, and that was part of the new normal. I think there was a real buzz about it, like there has been about this show. It was enjoyable. You've got new work to put on. We've got lots of traffic to our own website, as well as some sales on the Handmade online. And it really ramped up. We had to really ramp up the website, and it worked. So then we moved through to this year, and there are the January trade shows. Again, a gold package, which was fantastic. So I get to do a video. And because we're in lockdown, that video is on my own. So no friend to do that with. And if you'd asked us a year ago, I mean, while we were still thinking that the autumn show might go ahead, the thought that the January 2021 wouldn't go ahead was absolutely inconceivable, but it didn't. So I had to do a new collection because you've no choice. And I have to say it was a lovely one to do because there were some lovely fabrics. This is a new one, and I'd also found some new tweeds, a new source of tweeds, which has been really nice. And the Liberty, these are just a couple of that collection. I think that there are some on the Handmade online website. So I also did the Scottish Trade Show live, which was similar, and I got to do a live presentation on that. So a few orders have trickled through. I've got a big trade order from the January top drawer, which an American order, which is fantastic. As I say, the tweed mills are bringing new tweeds coming out, and Liberty are always bringing new fabrics out. So I've done a special scarf for Handmade, this Handmade show, with an existing existing tweed, which is quite a popular one, and a new Liberty, which has just come out a couple of weeks ago. It's designed by the set designer Shona Heath. It's a really nice one. And this one isn't on our website. It's going to be available exclusively on the Handmade in Britain online website. So here we are a year on. The shows, I think, the online shows have been incredibly well organised. Technically, for the user like me, they've been very straightforward. I can't imagine how much work has gone in to doing them. The main thing about them is it's given us all something to aim for, and we desperately needed something to aim for, something to do, some work, and also keep some money going in. All the shops and galleries have had to adapt. They're all the ones I deal with are doing click and collect. Social media has been a massive thing throughout the past year, whether you like it or not. But people have been very, very inventive. Lots of people doing new reels and all kinds of different things. You can, buy everything online these days on Instagram. So we've all learned new skills, live presentations, and things that we never ever thought we'd do. That we've had to put a lot more emphasis on photography, because obviously if you're not at a show, then the photography is all important, and that's been quite tricky. Because we've no models. So if you're on my Handmade in Britain page, the lifestyle photographs are all in black and white, because I haven't been able to photograph a model with the right scarf on. So we've saved some money, I suppose, by not moving around the country, doing shows, staying in hotels. The future, hopefully, the autumn shows will go ahead. I hope Handmade Oxford will go ahead. Who knows? It's been an incredibly testing time, but it was still here, and still doing the same thing, and with lots and lots of new products to look forward to. So that's it, really. I think that's all. That's how I felt last year.
It's been really interesting, because to listen to, because certainly from an organizer's point of view, there are some points we think you guys go into a little box, and then you come back out of a little box when you come and do our shows, because we talk about with you, for shows in the future rather than now. So it's been interesting, to hear certainly from yourselves, but that resonate, with others. With others as well, and some of those things that you picked up during the talk, it was a situation somewhere else. Never did we know it was going to to come here. It really was. It's happening somewhere else. It's kind of that kind of mindset. However, it does sound like you have kind of grasped it and adapted it, but you've not. It just senses like you've not stood still. And I think sometimes you can become fearful of yourself, apart from obviously watching lots of Netflix and other bits that we know, but it is kind of you've kept moving. But have you done this on your own, or has there been like support behind the scenes, as well?
What support? Sorry, I missed the first bit.
No. So have you had kind of good support behind the scenes to kind of keep you going? So if you've got kind of team members, kind of family, of keep you going. And how important has that actually been?
Yeah, very important. I've got Hester in Edinburgh, my daughter, and she does the social media. She does a lot of the marketing, photographs. She also does all the website. So that, I have to say, has been vital, because I think in my big summer sulk, I don't think I would have done it. Certainly wouldn't have done any Instagram. And doing the Instagram during the first lockdown, it was all very hard, because you were mindful that people were losing their lives, people were losing their jobs. You don't really want to be promoting a £39, £110 scarf. It seemed in fairly bad taste. So we both had to really work. We had a lot of discussions about that. I've also got Mark here, who does some cooking now and is a great support. And he helped me cut a whole bolt of tweed yesterday. So yeah, you do rely on people, don't you?
It's quite comforting as well, so to be able to especially if you are living with with someone, to actually to have them in the room, to have a presence, to talk and to vent sometimes. Because sometimes it could be venting about the smallest thing, and if it stays inside, sometimes it escalates.
Well, I couldn't vent. That's what we do. That's what we do when we're walking the dogs on the prom. Same walk every day. And if I'm not venting about cyclists, and another thing, and of course we're all getting everything out of proportion, aren't we? I'm leading a campaign campaign to ban cyclists actually from our front. But as I say, we get everything out of proportion.
Kind of for it. I mean, kind of bringing back, because we were talking about, we've kind of gone through social media, new skills, support, but kind of the new pieces. We kind of missed it in November, but the notebooks. I mean, I think they're a great idea, and they're a lovely addition, because in terms of reusing, they look really, really lovely as well. So I'm really excited to have them on the website at the moment, but also the new the new skinny scarf as well, because that's the Spring Harris tweed. Can we have another look at that? Because it's a much lighter colour palette, because of course in November it's more kind of darker colours. Here we go.
Autumn oranges, yeah, it's really nice. I really like it. So that's only on Handmade in Britain. I think it's £39 plus postage.
Well, if you think it is, we can always charge people more.
Yeah.
I'm only teasing everyone. We won't do that at all. We won't do that at all. Kind of for it. So, I mean, we've had a really great chat, and it's been really exciting to hear. But what's next for you, Helen? Because obviously we heard about kind of looking forward to in-person shows, but actually touching about in-person shows, you touched upon very kindly, Handmade in Britain returning to Oxford, and that's in September. Yeah. What is it? About the in-person shows that you are most looking forward to?
I think it's, well, apart from actually getting out from the 3 miles away from our house, what you really miss is the people. You miss talking to people about your work, people who are interested. You also massively miss the other standholders. That's a very important part of it, and the organisers, and because Oxford is a particularly sociable show, because of all that grass. It was a wonderful show to do. I really hope it goes ahead. So you miss the interaction with people. It's just the whole thing. And you also miss seeing other people's work, which is lovely, because I was next to a woman last time who did beautiful gold jewellery. I mean, it was just gorgeous. So it's lovely to be surrounded by lots of fantastic work. But it's mainly the people. I think that's what we really miss doing the shows.
I think it's actually the same, from an organiser's point of view, because we miss it. It's kind of going back, we put you into a little box, but when you come, for us it's to see collections move on. It could be a different way that you've set your stand up, and again, the people who are around you, because that conversation changes. But that's been quite we knew that people wanted to come back and do in-person shows, but we didn't realise more it's the reasoning behind, which is some people might be still apprehensive, but there's so much that we're doing as an organizer to make sure that, number one, our exhibitors are safe, but also our visitors as well. But then
I'm not in the least bit apprehensive about it at all. I'm getting my jab tomorrow, so I just can't wait, because we can do it. Well, especially at Oxford, it's intense, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
we've kind of taken all the sides down, so lots of air, everything's kind of, we've really put that in the forefront. But you're quite right, just kind of catching up with people and hearing what's been their challenges. I think that's a word we're all still going to have to listen to, but I think it does. It's really interesting to see how other people, and that's what people really want. They want to kind of stand in front of someone and say, how are you? I think, how have you done this? And, what's happening next?
I think some of us have. I mean, I've chatted with other designer makers over the past year on the phone. I've FaceTimed a few, just to say, how are you doing? Because it's really hard for most people, isn't it? It's just, especially a lot of people, living on their own, it's so making connection with other designers is real. I wonder if people think we're all really competitive, but I don't necessarily think we are. Everyone's so different.
I think actually before I started this, I did think, oh gosh, everyone is competitive, and I think, to be honest, the undertone is of course, if you weren't passionate about your work. However, it's not. There are so many conversations where just like yourself, that you phoned somebody, you've kind of followed them, you've sent them a message, you kind of waved at them You know, you've liked something, or you've just kind of saying, oh, that's really good. You know, why didn't I think of that? That's a really good idea. There's so much of that, and we don't kind of talk about that. It's kind of all individual, but working in craft and design, you know, it is there, and that's the you know, it is a supportive network.
Well, I think people can be very, very generous with their advice as well, and sharing where they get things printed or all that kind of thing. And I think that you miss that. That's one of the things you miss about the show. Oh, where do you get those boxes? All that kind of thing. So
we do get a lot of those, and then suddenly it works, and they look completely different because they've been branded differently, and you know, it's a really nice, you know, just having someone to call. During it. Helen, I'm really sorry, we are coming to the end kind of our time together. I could keep chatting and chatting and chatting. But that's what we've got the rest of the week for. So Helen, first of all, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. It's been really great to chat with you.
Thanks for organising it all. It's been fantastic.
No, thank you. So everyone, thank you very much, you know, for joining us and you know, for listening, you know, and asking questions with Helen. So just a reminder, this has been a live session with Helen Chatterton, and she is a part of the interactive virtual craft fair, which is running from Tuesday the 23rd to Sunday the 28th of March over on interact.handmadeinbritain.co.uk.